everybody, I'm Mitch from the band Wayland, and this is my rig rundown. Hi, hello. Philip probably showed this to you. This is our guitar vault. We also call it the boat. I've got some pretty cool guitars right now. This is probably my favorite. This is my Tobacco Burst Fiber, and actually we were down south, and I had been wanting one of these for a really long time, and Chip brought this up on stage for me, and I didn't know that I was getting it. I'd been wanting him, and he handed it to me to go on to the next song, and I was like, what's this? And he was like, no, it's yours. I'm like, what? And it was a really exciting moment. There's not many times on the road that you can genuinely surprise me. I feel like I've seen it all, but that was a really special moment. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget getting this guitar because the guys picked it out and they knew this is the one that I wanted.
Has there been anything done to that, modifications to it, or is
no
it?
modifications? No. It's pretty much. I've got stock pickups in there. It's a very warm sounding guitar. I use it for a lot of my standard tuning stuff, I use it for Bloody Sunrise and That's Life and a couple other things that come along, but I really like the tone. It's like a warmer tone than my other axes. This is an interesting guitar, and I don't know a whole lot about this next one that I'm going to show you, to be honest, because this was given to me by a friend, Michael Alexander, in Madison, Wisconsin. I've been trying to go more towards Gibsons, just because I like the sound, I really like the look. And the problem was I've got these two Gibsons that are my own, and I had another guitar that wasn't matching in sound, just wasn't working. Whenever I would pick it up and play, it just didn't hold a candle to the other guitars, and I was having trouble with the new songs that we're playing. So my buddy in Madison, who doesn't play this guitar at all, he's like, why don't you just take it? And so this is an 80s Les Paul. I think it's an 86. And it's got the three pickups, 3 humbuckers in there. And it's a beautiful guitar. But in the 80s, this is an interesting design because there are very few that have the 3 pickups. To be honest, all the wiring is mixed up. So, like, when I first got it, it was kind of interesting to get to know all the knobs. And originally I was going to have it all redone, so it made sense. But now it makes sense to me. So why not? Why not
now
just
you
keep
get
it?
Confused.
Yeah, I would be confused either way. But it's beautifully aged, and it's naturally beat up. So I really like it, and I use this for On My Knees and a new song called Come Back. So it's tuned up a couple steps from we play in E flat, so it's tuned up a couple steps from that, and it's good to keep when you're tuning it that high. It's good to keep a guitar in that tuning so it doesn't waver. And this is a really special guitar. This is my Les Paul Jr. I got P90s in this bad boy. Just one pickup down at the bottom, and this thing screams. This thing is an animal. It causes me so much trouble all over the country. It makes so much noise. But when I first got it, I'll admit, I play guitar, but I don't really consider myself a guitar player. When you're playing guitar every night next to Phil Walensky, you are humbled to the point where I will not call myself a guitar player. I know how to play guitar, and I look cool doing it, but I cannot hold a candle to what he does. So when I first started playing this, he had to kind of teach me how to tame the beast, because when you're playing a Les Paul, when you're playing a Gibson, it really does take a special type of skill to harness the sound with your fingertips and with the way that you play it, because these things make a lot of noise. They just like naturally are noisy, especially with the P90. It's a mid-range, a higher range type of sound. It's a by-ear sound. You know, I use this for like Meet Me in Chicago and Get a Little, Nobody's Perfect, and anything that I want like kind of a vintage rock and roll edge to, you know. And it's a lighter guitar than my other guitars, so I can really whip it around, you know. So the showmanship is different with it, which I really enjoy. And you know, Chip takes really good care of this, and I absolutely love this guitar. It is a replica of like you know, like a 60s version of the Junior, but it's just badass, man. It's just a really cool guitar.
Now, I know we'll get to the pedalboard in a second, but is there anything you have to do to your setup to adjust for the P90s from the humbuckers?
Well, as far as like on my
in your
rig?
setup for either volume or to eliminate buzz?
Yes, because I would definitely dial it in differently. But what I have a decimator pedal on my, because when you like, I usually get I dial in my sound with my Firebird, just because I like the guitar and I know exactly how it's supposed to sound, and it never gives me any trouble. So I start there, and but if I keep it on the settings, my Junior just starts making a ton of noise. It's just noisy, and so I would have to adjust. You know, I don't have time to do that in the show, so we put a decimator pedal on my board, which basically you click it and you can dial out the frequency. You do sacrifice a little bit of tone, especially if it's way up, and the sustain, you do sacrifice a little sustain as well. But you know, I don't have multiple rigs, and I don't have the time to go back and fiddle with the knobs, so that works out really well. But no, I mean, that's the only adjustment. I make sure that I have it set up for, all of them are set up for their specific tunings, and actually almost they get set up by song, or like where I'm going to be playing on the frets, mostly. So
your Firebird's become your number one now?
Yeah, she's my go-to, and she just plays really easy. I love how it feels. It looks really cool because it's a little bit bigger, and I'm a smaller guy, so it looks bigger on me. And I just love the color, and I love the feel. It's such a quality instrument, and what a beautiful guitar. Just the warm tones that it gives, it feels like home to me. Whereas I love my Junior, but you know, you're going to war when you got to go to war. It's not as comfortable as the other one. I love this new Les Paul that I got. I really love it, and it too has like really beautiful tones, and you can get a really warm sound out of it. But I'm just getting to know it, you know, and I only play it for a couple songs in the set, and it's in such a different tuning that I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like it's not like I'm writing off the guitar. It's just I'll make sure that it works, but I don't even go through it whenever I'm trying it out, you know. Like when I'm going through my rig, I'll pick up my Firebird for sure. Okay, so this is my orange amp, and I have been blessed in my career to have played the shittiest amps known to man. When I first started playing electric guitar, we were literally like borrowing and begging people to let me use their stuff. So I would literally use these like boxes with an amp, and I would play them until they would burn out, and then I would get another crappy amp, and I just got good at dialing in a sound on a crappy amp. And then about 2 years ago, we got involved with Egnator, and Egnator is a great company, and they make really good quality stuff, and the tones are the tones that I had on my Egnator head, and I don't remember the specs on it, but I didn't pay as close attention then, I don't think. But they're really great for metal. They're like really great for metal stuff. So usually their cabinets have like a bite-ear sound of their speakers. We agreed with Egnator to take on their stuff and be endorsed by them if they put vintage 30s in our cabs. So we have more like a warm rock and roll sound to metal. Now, I got this bad boy like a little less than a year ago. This is a Rockefeller 100 amp orange. And this with the vintage 30s is like, to me, it's just the greatest rock and roll sound that you can. And as a rhythm guitar player, whenever I hit a chord, it's just amazing. And this thing is a tank. It's very, very reliable. And you know, I keep it on dirty. It's got a gorgeous clean sound. But with my guitars, I can either turn down the tone or I can turn down the volume to get a really pretty sound. And it's just a really versatile amp. And really, whenever you're playing rock and roll, versatility comes from the playing. I'm really a firm believer in that. And you know, as you can see, whenever I take you over to my pedals here, I don't have a whole lot going on. Now Phil obviously is going to he's gonna experiment a lot more with his pedals, but I don't need a whole lot. This micro chorus is dirty. See? But
there's yellow.
Yes, there's the yellow, but it is such a beautiful tone, man. It's very true. It's probably the best chorus pedal that I've ever had. You know, there's a lot of choruses out there that sound kind of cheesy, but this doesn't. You know, it's what's that? What was that song? Down, 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 down. I said, baby. That Candlebox.
Oh,
Candlebox song, yeah. This can replicate that sound, and it's just like that beautiful chorus that is needed in rock and roll. This is my Pog, and I use it for a couple songs. I use it for Meet Me in Chicago for the riff, and this is so cool because basically it's playing. You know, if you're playing an A, if you're holding out an A on the fretboard, you can turn that octave up or the octave down up. And so, like, let's say we can turn this all the way down, then the sub is all the way up, that lower octave is going to be really loud, or that all the way down, the higher octave is going to be really loud, or you can mix them together, you know. And this kind of controls how dry that's going to be. Obviously it says dry. And then this is my decimator, which is kind of my leash. That's the leash that I use on the Les Paul. And how I get that working, and just so you guys know, you know, like I experimented with all this stuff, but you know, Phil really took me through all this stuff and showed me how all this stuff works, because you know, he experimented a lot with this before me. But basically, so my guitar will be making a shit ton of noise, you know, and I'll step on it. I'll step on the thing and I'll turn it all the way down. So now it's screaming like, and I'll find the least amount to turn it up, because when you turn it up all the way to here, when you're getting it up to here, you're not going to get a lot of sustain out of the chords. You're not going to get a lot of sustain and tone out of the guitar. So you want it as least amount. So it depends on the electricity that you're using in the room. Sometimes I'll go to here. Sometimes I'll be able to cancel the noise with this. So I just get to play around with it, you know. And sometimes I like it noisy. I don't know, man. So it just kind of depends. But so I like using a wireless mic because I'm pretty active on stage, and I appreciate every once in a while using a cord too, because you can do some really cool stuff with it performance-wise. This bad boy was introduced to me by Neil Middleton from Royal Bliss, and I was using a Shure SM58 wireless at the time, and I noticed when Neil would sing, his mic was so much more expressive, and so the tone was so much better. You got such a better sound out of it, and so I took the jump. It's a lot more expensive. And actually, this model is the EW500. So we made the jump with it, and I gotta say, man, I mean, it is one of the best wireless microphones. And you know, there is more expensive mics, and I tried those out too, but for my voice, this works out the very best, and it's just really great quality. And the great thing is about Sennheiser when this breaks down, I can send it back and they'll repair it, send me a new one, send me a replacement. It's really great. As you can see, the screen is nasty. That's my spit and all the crazy goo that comes out of my mouth, I guess. I don't know. I'm looking at this now. I can't believe I sing on this thing every night.
Time for a cleaning.
Yeah, it needs a new screen. I think this. Well,
Yeah, don't
it's
break it
locked
for the
on
show.
there. It's locked on there with some. It's actually, I think it might be rusted on there. So we'll let Chip deal with that.
There you go.
That's my rig.